and welcome to the program. I'm Smita Joshi. I'm joined once again today by His Divine Grace, Swami Tirtha Maharaj. Namaskar, Swamiji.
Hare
Welcome.
Krishna. Hare Krishna.
Last time, Swamiji, when we met, we spoke about the Bhagavad Gita quite a lot more than anything else.
Right.
And today I would like to pick your brains on the Srimad Bhagavatam, if I may.
Good.
Can you please tell us a little bit about the Srimad Bhagavatam? Firstly, what's the difference between the Bhagavad and the Bhagavad Gita?
Yeah. See, Bhagavad Gita was spoken in emergency on the battlefield. And it was spoken by God Himself, Krishna.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And it contains 700 verses. So He spoke precisely and succinctly to convey all the philosophical aspects. But then Bhagavatam is about Krishna and his devotees. And that contains about 18,000 verses. And that is an elaborate version of what was spoken in Gita. So naturally, Bhagavad Gita, study of Bhagavad Gita, is the preliminary study of the science of Krishna or science of God. Whereas study of Bhagavatam means post-graduation course. So when one starts with Bhagavad Gita, he can get a clearer understanding and help cultivate devotion towards Krishna only when he studies Bhagavatam in full. So basically this is the difference. Bhagavad Gita was spoken by God, Krishna himself, and Bhagavatam is spoken about God, Krishna and his devotees.
I see.
Yeah.
Okay.
So this difference many people do not know. They think Bhagavad Gita and Bhagavatam same.
So you could say that the Bhagavad Gita is, if the two were a book, the Gita and the Bhagavad, then you could say that the Gita is a chapter in the Srimad Bhagavatam. It's like a chapter of a book.
It's summary version of what is spoken in Bhagavatam.
Right.
So one can get an idea of what is contained in Bhagavatam by studying Bhagavad Gita.
Right, very good. And which of the cantos in the Srimad Bhagavatam are considered to be the most important, and why would that be?
First of all, we have to understand Bhagavatam was written by Vyasa in his maturity. When we say in his maturity, he was incarnation of Lord Vishnu himself. But then he played a role like any other human being here as a scholar. He wrote the Vedas. First one Veda was there, Yajur Veda, and he divided them into 4 divisions. Mm-hmm. That's why he's called Vyasa. Vyasa is not a proper name. It's not a name. It's not a personal name. It's a designation. His name was Krishna Dvaipayana. And in Sanskrit, asa means to throw or expand. So he's Vyasa because he expanded one Veda into 4. So therefore he is called Krishna Dvaipayana Vyasadeva.
Right.
And each Veda again divided into 3 subsections: Karma Kanda, Upasana Kanda and Jnana Kanda. Karma Kanda gives you an idea as to what work you perform and what will be the result of that performed work. And that constitutes about approximately 70% of this Veda. And the other 20% we can say Upasana Kanda, means in order to accomplish the objectives of the action performed, you have to worship certain deities, both God and the demigod, Vishnu and the Devatas. So that is elaborately explained. And the final portion is called Jnana Kanda, which consists the details about spirituality. That is, you are not the body, you are the spirit soul. And God, Vishnu, is the supreme spirit soul. This jnana, knowledge is given in that. And this portion is called Upanishadic portion. So he wrote about 108 Upanishads. Then after that, what he did was, because it's a very exhaustive study, he made a summary of all this in the codified form. We call it as aphorisms. So it's called Brahma Sutra. Then again he thought, Brahma Sutra, if you want to understand that, you require further assistance. So he compiled 18 Puranas. After doing all this, he was dissatisfied. He was dejected, in fact. He was wondering as to what was the problem. I did all this for without any selfish motive. So why should I be feeling that as if I have not accomplished anything? Then his spiritual master Narada appears on the scene, and he tells him that you may have written all this nicely, but then you are not glorified Krishna. So he said, you sit in the trance, samadhi, and see for yourself all the transcendental pastimes of the Lord, and then write about that. So he did that. He says, Bhakti Yogena Manasi Samyak Pranihite Amale Apashyat Purusham Purnam Mayam Chadadapashrayam Yaya Sammohito Jivo Atmanam Trigunatmakam Paro Api Manute Anartham Tadkatam Cha Abhipadyate. That means he sat in the trance, samadhi, and he saw Amale Manasi, purified mind. And the mind was purified by taking to devotion of Krishna. See, Bhakti Yoga. There are many yogas. He says, Bhakti Yogena Samyak Pranihite Amale Apashyat, he saw in the trance, Purnam Purusham, full personality of Godhead. You see, Purnam Purusham means the personality and his potencies and the action of his potencies.
So the absoluteness
of
the Purush.
Very true, very well understood. Yeah, so that's called Purnam Purusham. So what he saw was Krishna, and next to him standing by on the left side, Radharani, that is his potency. Apashyat Purusham Purnam Mayam, he saw Maya Apashrayam. Means Durga Devi, Maya, standing at his back, not in his front, not
behind
by his
him,
side.
driving him, pushing him.
Yeah.
Yes.
Helping him from the back. And he also saw the living entities struggling and suffering because of the deluding influence of that Maya. And what is that influence of Maya is that it Paroapi Manute Anartham. Because of the influence of Maya, the living entities, although spiritual by nature, they think they are these bodies. And because of that bodily concept, struggling.
So let me get this. So even the spiritual beings would fancy themselves in a body.
That's right. They imagine they are the bodies.
They imagine they're the bodies, whereas people in the body are trying to do the opposite. They're trying to get out of the body and become purely the spirit.
Right. So this was the original thinking. Imagine, say, Paropi Manute means imagines. Actually they are spirit soul, they are not the bodies. But because of the influence of the deluding potency, Maya, they imagine, and because of that imagination they are suffering. So after seeing this, Vyasadeva decided that they are suffering from the anartha. Anartha means that which is not a fact. They are imagining. So to remove that unwanted imagination, he wrote Bhagavatam.
Awesome.
Yeah. So therefore the Bhagavatam, after he realized all this in one go, you see, he saw Apashyat Purusham. When we say this, in trance he's actually like a 70 mm screen. He sees Krishna, he sees the Maya, he sees the Radharani, he sees the living entity suffering. We say, survival of the fittest. Nobody is fit here. Survival means you should exist eternally. That's not possible. In this mundane atmosphere, one has to go. Nobody can survive.
Right.
So therefore this Bhagavatam, after seeing this, he wrote this Bhagavatam nicely. And therefore it is required that one should know, unless he gets Bhagavan, Shakti, Shakteha Karya, the personality of God, his potencies, the actions of his potencies. The Lord has got three kinds of potencies, three categories of potencies. Spiritual potency, by which the spiritual world is manifested. Material energy, by which the material universe is created. And the marginal potency is the living entities themselves. They sometimes go this way, sometimes go that way. They can come under the influence of spiritual potency, or they can sometimes come under marginal potency. Therefore, they are external energy. Therefore, they are called marginal potency. Although they are spiritual, they are prone to be attracted towards Maya.
So, for somebody who hasn't read the Srimad Bhagavatam and they are interested in reading it, would you point them to any particular one of the cantos within the Srimad Bhagavatam that you would say is perhaps a critical one?
No.
They may want to start.
I know.
There,
For that they should start in the very first canto.
Right.
Because that's a kind of synopsis for all the 12.
And what about the ones who are, who just say, look, I get it, I got it. Where's the critical stuff in all of this? Where do I need to go? Is it?
No, the very first canto, all said and done.
Always the first one?
Whoever is he, X, Y, Z. If he is interested to know what's contained in the Bhagavatam, he should start with the first canto.
Right.
Because that's a synopsis of all the 12 cantos. He gets an idea.
Right.
Full idea about what the thing is, that's important.
Very good.
And if you ask me which are the cantos important, something like that,
yes,
then we say 10th canto and 11th canto.
10th and 11th.
10th canto because it contains Lord Krishna's pastimes, Krishna Leela. That's very attractive. You can see anyone in the spiritual field, even the liberated ones who think they are Brahmagyanis, they also get attracted to Krishna. And that is why 10th canto contains all Krishna's nice pastimes. It's lovable. Everyone will fall in love with it. But to relish the 10th canto, one must read 11th canto. Because 11th canto provides a sound logical foundation and philosophical basis for Krishna consciousness. The idea of Bhagavatam is you have to become Krishna conscious. But for that, if you want to make yourself strong, to develop the conviction, then you should read 11th canto. Right. Once you master 11th canto, then you can fix your mind and release 10th canto. So both are equally good.
So overall, what is the Srimad Bhagavatam trying to teach us? What are the key lessons?
Yeah.
That's a big question, isn't it?
I know. Out of 18,000 verses, I have to give you one verse. It says, Savai pumsam paro dharmo yato bhakti radhokshaje ahaituki apratihata yaya atma suprasidhati. Meaning, atma suprasidhati means satisfaction of the soul, self-satisfaction. Now, all of us are dissatisfied. Nobody is happy here in this world. Everybody is struggling, wanting to be happy, but are unhappy. It's not possible. Why it's not possible? They are situated on our dharma, inferior occupation. Whereas Bhagavatam teaches us, savai pumsam paro dharma, I mean superior occupation. Now, what is the superior occupation? Bhakti adhokshaje. Adhokshaje means Krishna, a transcendental person. Transcendently situated Krishna, you have to develop loving devotion and serve him with affection. That is, but service has to be ahaituki. It should be unmotivated by any material desire, and apratihata, unimpeded, means you have to be 24 hours Krishna conscious. Now don't tell me how is it possible. It's possible. Just like a mother who has delivered a baby, that she is 24 hours child conscious. Even at in the night at sleep, she just, voluntarily her hand goes like this, touches the child. That means even in her sleep, she is conscious of the child.
Yes.
It is like that. So one has to be 24 hours Krishna conscious, apratihata, and ahaituki, without any selfish motive. Yaya atma suprasidhati. This is one teaching. The next one is etavan eva sankhya yoga abhyam swadharma parinishthaya janmalabha parapumsam ante narayana smriti. You see, there are three activities. Swadharma Parinishta means one who is very much involved in his duties and responsibilities based on Varnashrama Dharma, socio-religious institutions. That is one. And the other guy is interested in Sankhya. Sankhya means analysis of spirit and matter. That is Jnanis. And that was Karmi. The other one is Yogis. I think you are Yogis.
I'm afraid I am, yes.
Yeah, Yogi. So that Yoga. So whether one wants to be Yogi, Ashtanga Yogi, or Brahmajnani, or Karmi. Janma Labha Pumsam. Pumsam of the one who has taken human birth. Param Janma Labha, supreme gain of this human birth is Ante Narayana Smriti. One should be able to fix his mind on Krishna or Lord Narayana, Vishnu. Technically all same. So this is the teaching we get from Bhagavatam. A core teaching. I'm talking about the core
so
teaching.
let me give that back to you, Swamiji. Really what we're dealing with here is a teaching of having every person go on the path of becoming one, learning how to focus and concentrate their attention, to begin with their mental attention, then their emotional attention, then their entire attention on this thing that we call God. And so
this thing called God.
Well, no, but I say it that way because many people, I want to speak to everybody who
right.
People may call it the higher self. People may want to call it God. They can, from my point of view, it doesn't matter. The real thing is that they are connecting to their innermost truth, which is the innermost kernel, which is what I believe you are saying is Krishna consciousness. And that will show up for people who are not necessarily aware of Lord Krishna. It can show up in many different forms, because ultimately what it is the source of everything that we are.
That's right. But that ultimate source, what is that ultimate source? That is the question. You see, we don't mind saying you call Krishna by some other name. We don't mind that. We don't say that's wrong. Because he can be called by any name.
Yeah.
That's okay. But you should know who is that person whom we are calling by different names.
Yes.
That is our point.
Yes, and what you're describing here, whether in the Canto 10 describing Krishna Leela,
right.
What Krishna did, what he enjoyed,
right.
whether Canto 11 as to
gives the philosophical understanding.
The mystical understanding, I would say, perhaps the spiritual understanding of how he occurs,
right.
and to different people, how he shows up in the world, or in a human being's consciousness, maybe. Then the thing I'm getting at is that the Srimad Bhagavatam is a place to go to understand what is it that we're talking about when we talk about God.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. That is the science of God, science of ultimate reality. What we put, the source of everything, the
right.
ultimate source of everything.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
And the lesson we get, you asked for that also. This is the teaching.
Yes.
The lesson we get is, that's also said in Bhagavatam, Kalehe doshanidhe rajan asti eko mahan guna kirtanad eva krishnasya mukta sangaha parabrajit. Meaning, Kali is full, Kali dosha nidhi. Dosha nidhi means it's a warehouse of faults.
Or machinery of faults, perhaps. Faulty machinery.
Yeah, full of faults.
Okay.
Dosha nidhi, treasure of faults. But it has got one mahan gunaha, one good quality. That is, kirtanad eva krishnasya. By simply chanting Krishna's names, mukta sangaha, detaching oneself from this material atmosphere, param rajit, he can go to the spiritual abode. Right. Only Krishna Kirtan, not anybody, no choice is given. It's very specific. In Bhagavatam, it's very specific. That's why we said, earlier Vyasadeva wrote so many books, like
Shastras.
Vedanta, Upanishad. But then here he is giving you the final conclusion. Bhagavatam actually is the commentary on the Vedanta. Vedanta, Anta means end, conclusion, Veda.
End of the Vedas.
Exactly. The conclusion of Vedic teaching. That is given in Bhagavatam. And there also he says here, you don't have to slog like anybody else. Simply take to Krishna Kirtan and you will liberate that.
Understanding it. And which of these teachings, in your opinion, are the easiest to put into our lives and which are the hardest?
See, chanting is the easiest.
Right.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare.
Yes.
Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. You see, because
anyone
there's
can
no
chant.
condition.
No, there's no intellect
like
required.
for example, Gayatri, if you have to chant, according to the Shastras, you have to be a Brahmana, then you have to take birth, you have to be initiated, thread ceremony, and then only you are allowed to chant. And then after taking bath, you have to do this, and then you have to sit in a particular position and do this. Whereas here, no condition, no strings attached, as we say, no strings attached. You can chant anywhere, anytime, in any position, any circumstances. Therefore it is the easiest. I hope you agree with me.
I do agree with you, absolutely.
But that's what I want.
Chanting is of course easiest because it doesn't require anything.
Exactly.
You don't have to have a sharp intellect, or you don't have to have a good body to
exactly.
get into different asanas.
No Sanskrit
or anything.
knowledge.
Nothing. Let's hold that thought, Swamiji. We are about to go to break, and please join us again in a few moments from now. Welcome back. We were in the middle of a double-part question before we went to break, and the question was, which of the teachings of the Srimad Bhagavatam are the easiest to put into our lives, and which are the hardest? So, Swamiji, we're now on to the hardest part.
Yeah. You preferred it later, is it?
Yes.
The easiest one you asked first.
The easy one, let's get it. Let's get that one first, yes.
Yeah. See, the next one, the hardest one is ahaituki, performing devotional service to Krishna without any personal selfish motive. That is difficult. When we perform our devotional service to the Lord, I'm saying devotional service because bhakti, normally people used to say devotion or sentiment. No, it's a dynamic thing, it's a service.
Yes.
You have to serve Krishna. So in the devotional service, somewhere this personal motive comes. That's because of the bodily concept of life. We always think we are the body. That problem is there. As long as you think you are the body, you will always have selfishness. And this selfishness can be said to be like this: concentrated selfishness and extended selfishness. Concentrated selfishness you observe in the animal society. Mm-hmm. That is, an animal wants to be happy himself. For that he will kill anybody. That animal will kill any other animal and be happy. Whereas in the human society, what applies is extended selfishness. That is, the first selfishness is being I look after myself, I earn, I enjoy, I go take flashy cars and eat quite well, nice Rolex watch. So many things, myself, self-sense enjoyment. But then better than that person is one who enjoys himself plus helps his own family. You see, extended. It is an extended gratification. Then there is another person who is comparatively better than this guy. He is the one who wants to help his community. He enjoys himself, he helps his family members, plus he wants to give extra money towards his community. And then there is someone who is better than all this. He does all this and then he wants to give himself to this country. See, there are four kinds of I, my family, my community and my country. This selfishness will be there. Now, for example, once I was traveling, I met a Syrian gentleman. He was in an army dress. I said, "You are working, an army man?" He said, "Yeah, I'm working for the Saudi army." I said, "Why is that?" "Because I get quite a fat pay packet." And then I said, "I hear that Saudi may attack," I'm talking about 3-4 decades back, Syria. But then said, "Yeah, that's why I'm taking leave and going home." I said, "Oh, why, when you are working here, why should you not fight for Saudi?" He said, "No, why should I die for Saudi Arabia? I'll die for Syria, my country."
Yes.
See, my country, my family, my community. For example, if, just for a joke I'm saying, If Gujaratis have, a person in Gujarat has a lot of money, he will build a school, college, hospital for Gujarati community, not for Punjabi community. Because, that my community, all connected to body.
Because that's where he gets the most just, where he gets the most credit.
Exactly. That's
and
what
recognition.
That's what the point I'm coming to now. So this selfish motive, because it is there, because of this bodily idea, because they are connected to body. So in that bodily idea, there are two kinds of gratification. One is subtle body sense gratification, and another is gross body sense gratification. The gross body sense gratification is kamini and kanchana, lust and greed, money and women. This gross body sense gratification. And the subtle body sense gratification is what you just now said. It's called pratishtha asha. Means name, fame, recognition, adoration and distinction. That's why everyone wants to see himself on a movie screen or a TV screen, in a magazine, in newspapers. Even you put a hoarding board there also, he wants what you call billboard.
Including you and me.
Yeah. But in our case here, we are here to explain these philosophical points. So therefore, these two are there, and therefore a person cannot be free from selfish motive when he serves Krishna.
So
and therefore it is hardest. Because
to become selfless. Yes, to give your service selflessly.
Selfless in sense, you should rise above the bodily idea.
Yes.
You should come to the spiritual platform. Then it will be pure devotional. That is why Krishna consciousness, what we are practicing, what we are supposed to practice, pure devotional form, pure loving service to Krishna. And that is possible only when you rise above the bodily idea.
Isn't it, would it be fair to say, Swamiji, that, to arrive, it's a process to arrive at that point for a human being, that, when you've had enough food, your stomach is full. So until when you're hungry, you want to eat this and you want that, and you have the desire for the laddu and for all the farsan and whatever.
Yeah.
So you have these different desires.
True.
But when you've had enough of that over time, you think, okay, okay, I've had enough. But is it the same, would you say, with man pratishtha and all of those types of things? That's why we have the desire.
Exactly. You put it rightly. That is why now you will agree with me, Vedic culture or Vedic civilization is absolutely scientific. Why? Because initially you are brahmachari, student life. Then when the student life crosses, or the person crosses, sex desire develops. So he is asked to enter into grahastha, householder life.
Right.
Then once you are satisfied with 5-6 children, then you are asked to retire.
6 children.
That means it depends person to person. And then he is asked to enter vanaprastha, where he is free from family attachment. And finally, although he becomes free from family member attachment, he has some attachment for wife.
Yes.
So that he has to give up after he crosses vanaprastha, come to sannyas.
Right.
So the gradual elevation to that point.
So it is a process, and we should not make people wrong for desiring.
Right, no. We say gradually eliminate. You see, when I first came to London, so maybe say 1993 somewhere, from Heathrow, when I was driving down to Wood Green, I saw a billboard depicting a voluptuous female personality with a caption, "Ignite your senses." This is nonsense. It is already blazing. It should be subdue your senses. Isn't it?
Yes.
So now the atmosphere in which we are today, it's all driving people lusty and greedy. Means they are reinforcing the bodily concept of life.
Yes, more reinforcing it and getting stuck in it because it's very seductive.
Right.
So it's very difficult then to step away.
Therefore it is hardest.
From that. That's hard,
from
yes.
that point of view.
Right. Now, in chapter 2 of Srimad Bhagavatam, there's a mention of the 8 Siddhis.
Yeah, being a yogini, you will
I really want to, yes, what are the 8 Siddhis and why should I want to develop them?
Okay. So, what's your question, please?
So, what are the 8 Siddhis?
Yeah. See, first of all, Siddhis you can develop by Ashtanga Yoga practice. Now, Ashtanga Yoga practice is 8-fold mystic exercises. First is Yama, means control of mind and the senses. Then niyama, major disciplinary regulations. Then after you cross that, then you have to conquer your sitting postures. You know, most people cannot sit in one particular posture. So that you have to gain control on that. Once you do that, then breathing exercises. Pranayama, because that is required to keep yourself healthy.
And calm the nervous system, cleanse, detox.
That's right. Now, once you become healthy by pranayama, the senses wake up to enjoy.
Yes.
So no, he says pratyahara.
So then pratyahara, rein it back
withdraw
in.
the sensory perceptions.
Then take your attention inwards.
Right. Pratyahara. Then dharana. Dharana means trying to steady the mind on the object of meditation.
Yes.
Then dhyana. Dhyana means concentrating on the object of meditation. Then finally samadhi. Samadhi means total absorption on the point of the object of meditation. Now
surrender.
Yeah.
Complete absorption, surrender.
Then that's what they call this a trance, where you rise above the bodily idea.
Yes.
Anyway, so when you do that, at that time you get siddhis. Now there are actually 18 mystic perfections or siddhis. 8 are primary, 10 are secondary. The first 8 that you will get is anima. Anima means smaller than the smallest. That means you can enter into a stone. You see, that's why Krishna is called Yogeshwara, because all these 8 siddhis, which is spiritual, have shelter in him, and he displays the highest order. So Krishna he enters into proton, neutron, electron, you see. So anima, that is smaller than the smallest. Then mahima. Mahima means greater than the greatest. That is, you can become bigger than Himalayas and cover everything. That's mahima. Then the other one is laghima. Laghima means lighter. You become the lightest. You can become so light that you can ride on the sun ray and go to the sun planet. That is laghima. Then prapti. Prapti means you can acquire anything you desire. That means, believe me, you can be here. If you get the siddhi, you can touch the moon with your finger. You see, that is laghima, prapti. Then prakamya. Prakamya means experiencing enjoyment here as well as in the heavens. Then there is ishita. Ishita means manipulating sub-potencies of Krishna's Maya. What is the sub-potency? For example, I'm saying, you must have heard some yogis go to some place and then they can bring rain cloud and rain. These you can do. That's why ishita. Then vashita means you can bring anybody under your control. Vashita, vashikarana. Then kama vashayita, there is the 8th one, which you can obtain anything from anywhere. So all these 8 siddhis, perfections, the source is in Krishna. So when he displays, they are all totally spiritual. But when the people within this material world practice to attain these siddhis, then it is in a very diluted form and it becomes material. Okay, then these are the primary siddhis. The secondary siddhis, the 10 in number, or they can be free from all bodily disturbance, and they can see and hear things far away. For example, today you are hearing somebody speaking to you from India, but through your phone. But that yogi can do without phone. Similarly, you can
so it's
see
like telepathy, something like that.
Yeah, they can do that. They have that capacity. Similarly, seeing also. Today you see through the monitor, TV, with all this. Without that,
so really, clairaudience, clairvoyance.
Clairvoyance. Yeah, that's right.
Clairvoyance.
Exactly.
All the mystical.
For example, Dasharath Maharaja, Arjun, and a few others, great emperor, they had what's called the Shabda Bhedi capacity. That means, if you are here, if somebody alights at Heathrow Airport, you can shoot him from here. See, simply by the noise of his putting step on this Heathrow Airport, you can hear that here and finish him. So these things are there, and then mind you can go at the speed of mind, And then there are some powers in which you can be free from hunger and thirst.
Right.
In fact, when Vishwamitra took Lord Rama and Lord Lakshmana, he taught him this mantra, Bala Ati Bala, by which they could do that. And then assuming any form.
And so this is the reason why in a lot of these movies, when we see movies about Krishna or Lord Hanuman or whatever, Ram, Shiva, we can see them in really doing things which are fantastic. I mean, they're really beyond
extraordinary human actions.
Yeah, they're extraordinary. They're way beyond extraordinary.
Right.
We can't even imagine. We just think, what rubbish. But actually, these are siddhis that they're actually expressing.
But then, even demons can acquire this.
Yes.
The secondary ones.
Yes.
So, for example, Putana could change herself, looking a most beautiful, maybe Miss Universe form.
Yes.
When to kill Krishna. So you can assume any form, and then there are yogis who can enter into another's body and enjoy through their sense organs. Mm-hmm. That's called parakaya praveshanam. Enter into a dead body and the dead body walks. That can be done. Mm. And then sometimes, and then like Bhishma Deva, dying at your own will.
Right.
You can die at the time you want. Yeah, you can choose. And then witnessing the pastimes of the heavenly bodies. That Indra, Chandra dancing with Apsaras, they can also see this. Right. They've got that capacity. And then executing one's determination, whatever they want to determine to do, they can do. And then finally, giving orders which cannot be impeded by any other force. So these are the 10 secondary potencies, siddhis. But then, I don't know, I want to conclude this today. Bhagavatam says, Yamadibihi yoga pathaihi kamalobha hato mohuhu mukunda sevaya yadvat na tatha atma adha shamyati. Meaning, Yama adi means Yama etc., Yama niyama etc. Yoga pathaihi, by the path of yoga, nobody can achieve mental peace. The way one can do it easily, get it easily, through the service of Lord Krishna.